Another day and another crappy market. The market was just a roller coaster again, just like yesterday. So good afternoon everyone, welcome to my show, and today we are going to talk about the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 and see how it's performed technically. So we'll start off with the S&P 500, and this is the 5-minute time frame. As you can see, yesterday the market started increasing in momentum, moving upwards, and then took a big nosedive down. And as you can see today itself, like after the big drop yesterday, the market started picking momentum and started climbing up. It climbed up to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. This is 8 in the morning. As you can see, a lot of the buyers started to take momentum into the market, deciding the market's moving up. And it did fall once on the 5-minute time frame to the 200-day moving line, and then again went up. Now it actually went up to the 4,400 mark, and then it plunged within a span of an hour. The market plunged almost 200 points. That's a significant drop. I pity the person that actually decided to buy at this point today. So if you're a short seller, you'd have probably made money, but this is a very risky trade as well, because you don't know how much is it going to fall. Is it going to just stop here and then bounce back because it was in an upward trajectory? But another good way to keep like your stop losses in check is to keep an eye on the 200-day moving line, see how it's performing. So this was the 5-minute charts. Let's look in the higher time frames to get a better perspective. Now this is the 4-hour time frame, and as you can see, we talked about this yesterday as well. There's a lot of volatility in this area. The market's just choppy up and down, a very hard trade to do. Like, you know, this is your bottom line, this is your top line. So the market did show a good sign. The market did show a good sign of starting to rise, and as you can see, it did break the 20-day moving line and started to rise from there. And as you saw, people started looking into the positive direction, that the market's going to trend higher from there. But around the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock mark, the market then took another plunge down and touched the same 4,300 mark. So this is an important line. I did mention it a few times. If you've been tuning into my channel, the 4,300 mark is very important, something to be very afraid of. If it breaks it, it's going to fall down further. If it supports it and moves up, that's a good sign that the market's moving higher. So let's now look at the daily time frame and see what that looks like. Now on the daily time frame, you can see that the market is decided to turn in the positive direction. But if this was me, I would still not be certain that this is a market that's trending up. The market's trying to hold its ground, and what it's trying to do is hold its ground on the weekly time frame. So if you look here, this is the dreaded 4,300 that I've been telling you about. So the market's trying to hover around this 4,300 mark, because this is a solid support that the market is facing. So it'll try holding its ground around this. I do predict that it could possibly close closer to the purple line, that's the 50-day moving average, and then decide what it has to do next. So if I was you, I was putting my money into the market, I would stay neither positive, neither buying, neither selling, just holding ground and seeing, because there's going to be more turbulence coming its way unless the market then decides to move up and rally in the positive direction. Now let's look at the Nasdaq, and this is again the 5-minute time frame. We saw a nosedive yesterday around the end of the day, and similarly we've seen a big plunge in the market around the same time, maybe an hour before the crash yesterday. But it's a significant crash that we've noticed, all the way down to the 13,900 marks, almost the 14,000 mark. So that's a significant drop again. So the market is plunging lower. And we've seen similar occurrences as we would compare with the S&P 500. So now let's go directly into the weekly time frame. We know that's a very important time frame, and everything else is dependent on this time frame. So it's still below the 50-day moving line. But as I mentioned yesterday, if the S&P 500, the 50-day moving line on the weekly trends in the positive direction, if it actually holds ground, that's a good sign that the market's going to head upwards. So even though the Nasdaq has broken it, it's still not a concern, because the S&P, it overrules the Nasdaq, and the S&P holds strong regardless of what the Nasdaq has to say, at least in comparing the two. Now let's look at these sectors and see how that performed today. So in today's performance, energy did pretty well in comparing the rest of the market. So the rest of the market, real estate was plunging down almost 1.46%. So energy stood out. Technology is, I wouldn't say it's rectifying its losses and starting to head in a more promising upward direction. But overall, like everything's red right now. There's no way you could escape the market. Bitcoin's down, everything else is down. If you look at a 1 week performance, energy is still like trying to trend positive, but not doing that, justifying itself to put your money into the market. On a monthly time frame, yes, energy is 13% above. You could possibly invest some of your money, very small percent, maybe 2% or like 5% of your capital into the energy sector if you're eager to put your money into the market, but otherwise hold off. Let the volatility subside and then look ahead and see what the market holds. So that's it for today. If you like what I'm sharing, if you want to know more, if you want me to analyze a different stock, a different market, do let me know and I'll be happy to share my thoughts on it.